It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
That's caught! Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Ritchie right to the rim, driving score! He would not be denied!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Sponsored by Any Hour Services, Electrical, Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Your hosts are Mitch Harper and Kyle Ireland. On Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday here on a BYU football game day. Cougs and the Wildcats, an all-out Big 12 catfight here in Tucson. We're live here on KSL News Radio, KSL News Time, 12:35 p.m. in Salt Lake, 11:35 a.m. here in Tucson. We're efforting BYU quarterback, former BYU quarterback, BYU legend, Max Hall. We're expecting to have him on board to talk about this matchup. Remember, 18 years ago, Max Hall had his first career start against the Arizona Wildcats. That was an Arizona team with Rob Gronkowski. It was a really good game between BYU and Arizona. And now Max Hall joins us live here on Cougar Sports Saturday, sponsored by Any Hour Services, Electric, Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Mitch Harper and Kyle Ireland here with Max Hall. And Max, thanks for joining us today on this BYU football game day. We spoke to you before fall camp kicked off about these quarterbacks, and Bear Bachmeier's just taken off with this thing, hasn't he?
Hey, yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys, man. I appreciate it big time. But I don't think anybody – I think everybody's been very I wouldn't say surprised is the word, but just excited and happy with how Bear's playing, and he's doing a great job. And I think Cougar Nation is happy that he came over.
Max, Bear's only thrown for one interception this season, but he's thrown 7 touchdown passes, run for 5 others. What do you think makes Bear successful?
Well, I think you can look at all the tangibles he has, right? He can make every throw. He can obviously run and create plays when he needs to. But you also hear about his football IQ and how the coaches have talked about how fast he's picked things up and can command and lead the offense. And so I think he's right now putting together the full package, and it's fun to watch.
The winningest quarterback in BYU football history, Max Hall, is on the line with us here on Cougar Sports Live as we get ready for BYU and Arizona. And Max, when you were the starting quarterback for BYU back in 2007, your first year as the starter, it felt like there was a little bit of a ramp up then, even for you, how the offense continued to evolve week after week with Coach and I. That seems to be the case, too, with Bear Bachmeier, where each week Aaron Roderick is giving more to Bear Bachmeier to handle with this offense. Do you see any similarities of the experiences that you had in your first year as a starting quarterback?
Yeah, I think all of us remember those first, 2, 3, 4 starts in our careers, especially at the collegiate level. For the first time, you're playing in front of these big crowds, and the pressure's on, and you're the guy, and those are memorable experiences. But in those memories, there's a lot of mistakes and a lot of growing up that you had to do. And the more you can limit that, and the more you can prevent those, growing up mistakes, and continue to add more and more to the playbook, is when you're going to see the offense continue to just get better and better. And so when you compare it to maybe my years, I think that's how you would do it, is just as you get more comfortable, with not only your teammates, but also with the play caller. I think as you get comfortable with the OC and what plays he likes to call when, and you guys talk through things and can get on the same page, that's when I think the offense can really become explosive. And so kind of from what it sounds like, everybody around BYU who I talk to sounds it's kind of heading that direction. So I'm very happy for what they got going on and for how Bear's playing. And, I'm excited to see how he does tonight.
Talking about that 2007 season, Max, what are your memories of facing that Arizona team in your first career start?
Well, I remember I'm like, oh, dang, they're a good team. They had some good players on that team, from Gronk to, Spencer Larson and some of these other players. They had a really good cornerback. I can't remember his name, but they had some studs on defense. And Stoops was the coach, and they were supposed to have this really good defense. So I just remember going into that game, the jitters, the nerves, the excitement, and then I remember the first couple series when we actually are moving the ball and then we finally score. It's like everything kind of settles in. But I think U of A has always had a great program. And even back then when I was playing, there was some really, really talented, good players who have come through there. And so it's always fun to go play them. It's always a really tough environment to play in. They're loud. Looks like the weather's not, you guys come down here to Arizona and we're going to give you some rain, but should be fun to see the two battle tonight.
Did you were initially out of high school signed with Arizona State, but did Arizona recruit you much?
No, not really. I think look, let's be honest. I grew up disliking U of A very much because I grew up in an ASU family, right? So, my Uncle Danny, my Grandpa Whizzer, they got their jerseys retired at ASU. We're an ASU family. And so I always grew up, I was taught not to like the school down south, right? So that's just kind of how it's always been for us. And so that has stuck with me, I think, the rest of my life.
Well, for BYU, they don't like the team up north, Utah, and that's next week. Do you get any how hard is it, Max, to not have, when you're a player, to not have any look ahead to a game that's even bigger week ahead on the schedule? This game tonight's big against Arizona, but we all know what's next week with BYU and Utah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's obviously the big one. So, but you do got to take it one game at a time. And, with the conference and everything that they're playing in, I think that just kind of has to be their mindset all the time, is no other game matters right now than this one right in front of us. And so I think they've shown consistency in that. And I think the coaches will do a great job getting them prepared and ready to go and making sure their mindset's right for today. And then next week we'll get ready to go beat Utah.
Max, you were part of the last BYU team to win a conference title in 2007. When you look at this team, what do you think it's going to take from this group to be able to get a conference championship once again?
Well, here's the deal. This is what we see. We have some new faces around, but we know we got a really good football team, but there are still some questions. And so I think what needs to happen is we need to see that as teams get more film on us, as teams maybe understand us a little bit better, they get more film on our young quarterback. He's going to probably start seeing some different blitzes, some different schemes, different looks. How is he going to handle that? And can we get him prepared for those looks, I think, is what's going to be big going forward, because as high as we are right now, he's young. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he's inexperienced. And so that will show up at some point. But, I think Bear just needs to keep working his butt off and understand that he's going to face adversity and, just be prepared to that and overcome it. But teams are going to know he's young. They're going to attack him in every way that they can. And so I think A-Rod has his work cut out for him, just preparing him for what he's going to see in the future. And we play some really good football teams along the way, right? So it's going to be kind of a chess match. It's going to be a fun year, but we definitely have the team to do it. And I think, there's no doubt in my mind this team has a chance to win a conference championship.
How helpful is it, though, Max? When I think back to that, we were, having those memories of that 2007 BYU-Arizona game. You had a running back in Harvey Unga. It was kind of his breakout game. I know that you and both Harvey had that year in 2006 together where you're kind of learning that offense, but you guys kind of hit the ground running in that opener. How beneficial, though, is it as a quarterback to have a standout running back perform? Because Bear's got L.J. Martin, and when he gets going, it just seems to open up everything for this team.
Well, he's special. And you know what's awesome? He's being coached by my guy. You know what I'm saying? He's being coached by one of my guys, Harvey. But I had Harvey, I had Manasseh, I had Fui. I had really, really good running backs and a really good offensive line with me when I played. And when you're running the ball, everything else is easier, obviously. So I think the coaches have done a great job of feeding him, keeping him as in the game plan, and making sure that his plays are positive yard plays. Because when you're giving that guy the ball and it's just 5-6 yards, every time he touches it, that's going to open up stuff and make reads easier and everything easier for Bears. So, I mean, I think I'm excited to kind of see how teams are going to try to defend that, because I think we're pretty good and it's going to be hard for teams to shut us down.
Talk with BYU legend Max Hall for a few more moments here. And Max, on social media last night on X, you had a personal announcement that your time at ALA has come to an end, American Leadership Academy. What's next in your coaching career? Can you give us a little bit of a tease?
Well, here's the tease: is I don't know yet. I have had a lot of phone conversations, and I have had people reach out, and I do have meetings set up with potential opportunities going forward. But I do know this is where in the past I was maybe a little bit more content staying in high school because I had a son coming up to play and all that. I do feel like I am going to maybe reach out and see if I could take my skills to the next level and coach in college in some capacity. And so that's what's exciting. It's a little nerve-wracking, but I'm super excited to go to these meetings and to talk to people and to really just explore where I want my career to go and what direction I want that to go and who do I want that to be with. So today I'm going to enjoy the BYU game and have some fun and spend some time with the family. But, hopefully here in the near future, I'll have an idea of what's next for me as a football coach, and I'm excited about that.
Well, I know Cougar Nation's pulling for you, Max, and I'm sure they would love it if you made your way back to BYU. I think sometimes people forget you were there in 2012 helping out on that staff with Taysom Hill and that team, Riley Nelson. And, man, would love to see it one day circle back to BYU if it could work out.
Well, and, those years that I went back and, Coach Doman was the offensive coordinator. And so, I was just a student assistant coach helping out, but I basically got to run the quarterback room because Doman taught me everything, right? So he knew that I could run the quarterback room and do things the way he would want it done. And so getting to work with Riley and even Taysom a little bit, Hill and some of the guys, and get that experience as a coach was, I think, invaluable. And, yeah, man, I mean, I still want to coach, and, if one day that's at BYU, I would be elated about that, and we'll just kind of see where that goes.
Well, Max, we're all pulling for you with whatever the next chapter is in your coaching career. We'll be following from afar. We appreciate you spending some time with us. Enjoy the game tonight, and hope to talk again down the road.
Hey, thanks a lot, man. I always appreciate you guys. You guys do a great job, so thank you for having me on, and go Cougs.
That's Max Hall, BYU's winningest quarterback in program history, live here on Cougar Sports Saturday. Let's take a break here from Tucson. We'll check in with scores around the Big 12 Conference and also give you an update on the weather. It's BYU and Arizona game day here on KSL News Radio.